Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. This time we're going to look at the Dutch Caribbean architecture. And the Dutch Caribbean architecture is something that you have in the Caribbean, obviously. But it's also a very colorful design, and it's actually very fun to build with because you get to experiment with so many different color palettes and just basically go crazy on your builds. And I'm gonna have a little bit of explanation of what's going on here. So the key things about the Dutch Caribbean is the gabled roofs and facades. So the steep pitch roof and the gables, they're clearly mimicking Amsterdam's canal houses, basically. So since the Dutch Caribbean, it of course has some Dutch influences, and that's what you see over here. But they're also like very old Dutch influences, so therefore it is very old looking as well. It also has very vibrant color palettes. And it really can go very bold, like a very pinkish to yellow to maybe some blue. But you can also just stay modernish and just use normal brick. It's really up to you what you decide is the best for your housing. And also because we are in the Caribbean, they also have some tropical adaptation. Something that you see here is just like very, well, in this case not really that outgoing. For example, like the very big windows. That's not something you will often see in Amsterdam. It's more like a very tropical thing to have. Because, well, you do have, well, you also have shutters. The shutters are like very difficult to build. Like in this one, this case is like very easy to see. Like for example, this can be like a shutter. And those are there to keep out all the heat. And you can open the big windows at night so you can get the cold inside. So that's the tropical influence from Caribbeans into the Amsterdam looking houses. And of course you don't want it to look very boring, so what you could do is you can kind of shift the placement of the houses so they don't all stick next to each other, but some have like stand out a little bit more to the front than the others. For example, this one here, the pink one is like very more towards the back, so the blue one sticks out a little bit more, and also creates more of an in-depth effect if you're like walking on the street. It looks more interesting that they're like all sticking out and have their own little thing going on than if they would be all sitting right next to each other. But this makes walking around in your town so much more fun because it's just also interesting to look at. All the different shapes, all the different colors. You can even add some text to your houses so they look like some stores or maybe some companies that run there. This one is the Hefi or Hefi is the Phi CLS. So yeah, so you can use that with banners, of course, but if you want this to be more visible from afar, you can use shelves and trapdoors or just normal trapdoors. And a briefcase on everything makes the house a bit even more livable. You can have all of your friends live in one of each house, and you can put items in their mailbox when needed. Another small detail I want to go over is if you put time at night, then you notice that some floors are lit up while the others aren't. This is a very fun effect to add to your build. So if you're looking from afar, it looks like maybe there's some people still awake, like they're still going on with their day even though it's late at night. And to create this effect, you just simply add some lightning to your build. Of course, you will have to live with the fact that monsters are able to spawn on the other floors. Well, if you don't want that, you can either add a lot of carpets so they can't spawn at all, or you just ignore the fact that only a couple of floors are lit up and just lit up everything. And besides of the more gabled roofs that we have over here, we can also have some flat roofs, and the flat roofs are the perfect time to add some beautiful decorations to your build. Like a roof garden here with all the roses and some storage here, and also a place to sit and relax. Of course, this is probably not the best place because, well, you only have sun in the middle of the day, but it's still nice to have a little place to chill during the day. We got another one on this roof here, and this one is probably the best one to chill at because there's just so much free space here. And you can see here that they're like hanging up their laundry. Maybe they have like a small bed that where they can chill. And they also have their little garden here where they can grow their own food, as well as some air conditioning on top. And some storage here on the back, with some couple of places to sit and relax to, because maybe this is like a, well, probably this is a house where multiple people live, so you probably want to have like more spaces to sit. You can add this little greenery here as well. It's a very subtle hint, but it really adds more to this entire concept of the roof garden. Another small detail you could add is the rain gutters on the side of each building. It adds a little cute detail to it, and it's not too overwhelming if you do it like this. So you have the andesite wall, but you can also let it go over into some hoppers. And that way it looks like you have those connections every other floor. So it looks very nicely indeed. And that's like the entire gist of the Dutch Caribbean builds. Like there's not that much going on, but it is very fun to build and it is very fun to look at. And it's probably one of my more favorite builds to do because it's just so much simple, but also so much satisfying to see the finished product. I hope you learned something from this style and architecture, and I hope you really want to give it a shot as well in your survival or creative build, because it is a very fun thing to do, and I highly recommend using it yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, have a good weekend.